What's up traders, in this video I will be performing a market forecast on Euro USD using smart money concepts, so stay tuned. This video is going to serve as my outlook for Euro USD for the month of April, and as always we're going to be focusing on the weekly, the daily and the 4-hour time frames in order to give you guys a medium to long term idea of what I'm anticipating to happen next on this pair. Now again, the reason I do these market forecast videos is to show you guys practically how this specific trading approach can be used in order to identify and establish a directional bias, and also to identify high probability areas where you can look for trading opportunities. And this means that even if you don't specifically trade Euro USD, what I want you to take away from the video is the process behind applying these concepts to live market conditions and then utilizing that to find high probability trading areas. Because even if you're trading something like USD JPY or GBP USD or CAD Swiss, gold, NASDAQ, whatever it is, the process remains the same. The application of the concepts remains the same as well. So kicking things off here on the weekly time frame as we always do, and honestly speaking, not a lot has changed here on the weekly time frame because price action effectively continues to trade within this particular area. It's essentially consolidating. From our last video, we can see that we had a little bit of internal bullishness, but not that significant amount of price action overall in the context of this weekly time frame. So what you can see is that we still trade within this larger bearish range. We did have that pullback into premium, and then after that we had our internal structure shifting bearish in here, which suggested the start of our bearish continuation phase. Our overall target is obviously a violation of this weekly week low. Before that though, we first want to see a violation of this internal low in here in order to reinforce that weekly bearishness and that weekly bearish continuation that we would like to see. And then after this violation occurs, we can then look towards this previous weekly demand zone as the next sell target, where we could see a potential short-term reaction because it's a previously unmitigated zone before a resumption of that bearishness. Now, the presence of this weekly supply zone all the way up here means that we cannot disregard the potential for internal structure to reverse and shift bullish in order to facilitate a mitigation of this POI. So keep that in mind as we go into not only the month of April, but as we go into Q2 as well. As much as we are bearish, there definitely still is that potential for a just complete reversal and a mitigation of this POI. Now, dropping down from the daily time frame, we can see that from our last video, we actually had some really positive movement in terms of what we were anticipating price action to do based off of our last market forecast video, which was uploaded at the start of Feb. So we can see that our internal structure shifted bearish after the violation of this internal strong low. Price action came to mitigate this daily demand, and after that mitigation we had a stronger bullish reaction off of that POI, which came into this daily supply. Now this was one of two daily supply zones that we were anticipating a stronger bullish reaction to push price into, and we can see that the first of those two POIs is the one that price action ended up respecting, and we've now seen a really nice bearish reaction off of that POI. So from a daily point of view, we are obviously bearish and we are currently trading within this bearish range. The fact that our internal structure has now shifted bearish signals that we've potentially seen the start of our daily bearish continuation phase. And what that means is that now the overall target for price action is going to be this daily week low. Prior to that daily week low being violated though, we first want to see a violation of what is now an internal week low down here. After that violation, we can then look towards this previous daily demand coming into that area, giving us a potential short-term reaction before price action then continues. So what this means is that our weekly is bearish, our daily is bearish, and that has given us a directional bias that we can now utilize when looking for trading opportunities, which is going to be a bearish directional bias. The presence of this daily supply up here remains relevant up until the point that we see a violation here, because prior to this violation, internal structure could reverse in order to facilitate this mitigation, but the anticipation is for that bearishness to continue from a daily point of view. And so with that daily directional bias equipped, what you're then looking for is you're essentially looking for selling opportunities in this area. And that's where that 4-hour time frame can come in. Now we can see that our 4-hour internal structure was bullish during this leg, facilitating the 4-hour pullback. That 4-hour pullback obviously took place after a mitigation of daily demand, which occurred after our 4-hour structure shifted bearish with this violation. And then once price action came in to mitigate this daily demand zone, which we can see was well priced, we had our 4-hour structure shifting bearish to then signal the start of our 4-hour continuation. So at the moment, 4-hour is bearish, 4-hour internal is bearish as well, currently facilitating that 4-hour continuation. So what we now want to do is we want to identify areas that will allow us to trade in line with that directional bias, which is bearish. So we can see that our most recent internal breakout structure is this breakout structure. And as price action came in to mitigate this previous 4-hour demand, we've had a very nice initial bullish reaction. Now, in terms of areas where we want to see bearish continuations from, I would mark out this 4-hour supply here and this larger 4-hour supply here. This would be the first area where I'm anticipating price action to come into before potentially continuing. Now, this would require our internal structure to shift bullish in order to facilitate that mitigation, because at the moment, our internal range looks like this. So ideally, we would want to see our internal structure shift bullish temporarily to facilitate the mitigation of either this POI or this POI before that bearish continuation takes place. From a 4-hour point of view, the overall target for price is going to be our 4-hour week low down here. We do have a previously unmitigated 4-hour demand that sits right at that week low, which could generate a short-term reaction before that continuation takes place. So any sells that we now take from either here or here could initially target this, but ultimately target that week low. And then any buys that we take on our intraday time frames, like the 15-minute or the 5-minute, we know are going to be effectively very short term, potentially pushing price towards this area or pushing price towards this area. So very clean price action here on EUR/USD. Very simple, straightforward directional bias. Interested to see how things play out as we now head into Q2. As always, if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure that you give it a like, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future content. And as always, I appreciate you guys so much for watching, and I'll speak to you in the next one.